So today I want to talk about social influence on all of us. And we've been talking the last few days about the social influence of sexual, I would just call it sexual frequencies that are being spit out everywhere around us. Yesterday I heard something, perhaps you know this, it's very alarming. There's a picture of a baby, and the baby has about 20 logos on its body. And it was said by the time a child is 6 months old, they recognize logos. That's pretty scary. They recognize the brand and the color. So we are being programmed to be consumers. We are no longer citizens, but we are consumers. We're often, if you listen to the news, sometimes you see we're often referred to as consumers. And as we've been talking about, or briefly we mentioned yesterday, sex sells. And therefore, it's always been used in advertising, or at least for the last 40, 50 years, it's been used predominantly in advertising. And now it's come to such an extreme that what would have been considered pornography previously is commonly used in ads to sell products that have nothing to do with women and nothing to do with sex. But sex sells. So that means we're all growing up in a society in which we're programmed to think about others in relationship to them as sexual partners, especially women. So the way women are raised now, they're raised seeing these images of other beautiful women that actually are not that beautiful, but are photoshopped. You know, in Photoshop, you can become thinner. Every limb of your body can become thinner. Your face can change, your waist can change, everything can change. So there's one famous model. Her name is Cindy Crawford, a famous American model. And she once said, "I wish I could look like Cindy Crawford." In other words, the way she was photographed, the way she was made up, the way she was photoshopped, has nothing to do with actually the way she looks. And so she said, "I wish I could look like Cindy Crawford." That's pretty funny. So women grow up seeing these images of these beautiful women that actually don't exist. And men grow up seeing these images of beautiful women that don't exist. And this becomes their ideal of a woman. This is what they see when they're looking for a woman. And of course, when women are made to look this way and not clothed well, naturally the man thinks of sex. So in our society, a woman's worth has become predominantly her physical attraction, and her physical attraction, of course, relates to sex, the pleasure she can give a man. So this is what we've come to. Now, what's so interesting about this is that within Vedic society, there's this extreme separation of men and women to prevent this, and control of what the public can see and hear, which practically is gone in our society. Some of the music videos are simply pornography, but it's available everywhere, and as you know, pornography is available on any smartphone. So we've never been in a situation like this in the entire history of the world where we've become so sexually crazed. And this is having a huge effect on relationships, because men do not want to commit. They'd rather just live with a woman, enjoy sex with her, and then dump her if they become tired of her or find a more beautiful woman. Now, one time, Srila Prabhupada said something very interesting. He told the story of Bilba Mangala Thakur going to visit the prostitute Chintamani. And he said, actually, she wasn't a prostitute, she was his girlfriend. But within Vedic society, if an unmarried man is having sex with an unmarried woman, prostitute girlfriend, it's the same thing. Something very funny happened about 10 years ago on a talk show. It's a very conservative religious talk show host, Jewish, not Christian. But a girl called in and was having trouble with her boyfriend. And so this lady's name is Dr. Laura, so she said, "Are you having sexual relations with him?" She said, "Yes." She said, "Are you married to him?" She said, "No." And then Dr. Laura threw her off and said, "Well, how much are you charging him?" And that, of course, threw the girl off. And the girl said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, you're his prostitute, so if you're going to be his prostitute, at least get paid for it. Because if you're not married, why are you having sex?" So this is a woman about my age, raised in another generation. Now, if you say that today, people think, well, there's something wrong with you. Why are you saying these things? But the reality is, where sexual constraints are not made, there will be an increase in divorce. There will be an increase in the loss of chastity, cheating on. It's like common sense. Anybody can understand. A boy is raised, a girl is raised, sexualized. They're thinking about sex from an early age. They have many, many boyfriends and girlfriends before they get married. And how are they going to be chaste to that one woman? And there's pornography all around them. And even if you're not looking at pornography, it's still all around you in the advertising. And they have, on billboards, magazines, social media. You really can't avoid it. So this is actually destroying us. So it's so interesting to look at this in relation to the principles in Vedic society where marriages are arranged. A girl has one boy, that's it. Of course, they arrange marriages, so many problems, and okay. There may be so many problems, but the principle is she has one man in her life. She's not going around sleeping with men, dating men. She has one man. That's it. And it works. So it's something to think about. I thought it was interesting when we see where society is going today, even though if we look at the Vedic and think, well, the Vedic's very conservative, maybe outdated. But when you actually see what's going on in society today, then the Vedic makes complete sense. Because Vedic sadhus understood that unless there is sexual control, unless there is chastity, unless there is separation of the sexes to a healthy degree within society, there's going to be unwanted pregnancy, there's going to be divorce, there's going to be men and women living together, there's going to be venereal disease. It's going to be a total mess. And we're seeing the mess, and it's just getting worse.